Got the pen and the paper in your hand. Got the story going, but you wanted to expand. We'll help you on your journey, let us lend you a hand. Join the show. So let's write the book TV show. Grab your pen and paper and we're gonna let it flow. Talking about write the book TV. Join the show.
Welcome to Write the Book TV. I'm your host, Kimberly LeBou. Each week we show up here interviewing authors and experts around all things publishing and writing. And today we have with us a special guest who goes by Wright Middleton. Janelle is an entrepreneur, a speaker, a playwright, director, and lover of God. She has committed her life's work to inspire, enlighten, transform, and entertain. So welcome to the show, Janelle. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kimberly. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. I'm so excited to have you here. I know you had to travel to get here, so we're always appreciative when people take the time out to visit our show. So I'm just excited to have you here today. I've been reading your books and I just love them. First of all, thank you so much for sending me your books. That was a real pleasure and a joy. And I read one of your first books, which was Ice Cream Kiss. Mm-hmm. A mother's drama becomes a daughter's journey.
Yes.
I read that book in one sitting. It was so good.
It's an easy read.
Yeah, in so many ways I felt like I could relate to it with the relationship with me and my mom. Mm-hmm. And it was just really just a good story. And so I want you to talk a little bit about that book, mm-hmm. and then share with us, like, why did you decide to share your mother's story like that?
Well, first, thank you for having me.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
so excited to be here. Ice Cream Kiss is so personal to me. It started because I just didn't want my mom's life to disappear. That was the original intention. She was here. She died young. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot from her, and I just felt like she would just be gone, you know? And I started writing it for me. And as I continued writing, I was like, oh wait, I have a book here. And I realized that her story, which became my story, began to make sense to me. When I turned 30 years old, and I had 4 children, and I was married, and I felt lonely. Mm. And when I felt that, I said, oh, this is what she felt. Yeah. And all she had was me. Mm-hmm. Now I have 4 children and a husband, and I'm feeling, I'm feeling, this space inside, and I'm like, if I didn't have my husband and children to ground me, my life could have very well been her life. Wow. And so in writing it, it became so important to me that daughters see their mothers as people. Yeah. Because when we see our mothers, we just see them as our mothers. Like their whole purpose is for us. Mm-hmm. And it's not until either we become mothers or we really are opened up enough to be compassionate.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when you were writing, you had so much compassion. Yeah. And I just thought it was so beautiful. And you spent time, like, really figuring out who your mother was, and also having the compassion to understand, even though her life was difficult, that there were parts of her, like, that you just explored, and really wanted to tell her story so people could see her as a woman. Yeah. So that was just so beautiful.
Thank you.
I loved it. A story well written.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh no, make you get a little misty. It was just so beautifully done, and it made me really reflect and think about my relationship with my mother, and some things that I may be able to do differently. And so I know I had great takeaways from it, but what is it that you wanted readers to take away from that story?
I wanted them to see the human relationship between mother and daughter. Yeah. Remove the label. Yeah. And just see woman to woman. And when we're young, we can't really see that because our mothers are superheroes and they are everything and they can do everything. But we never really look at how they got to where they are and the mistakes that we judge them for.
Yes.
And we point at them and I'm this way because you didn't, and you know, I wanted a red truck for Christmas and you never got it for me, so now, you know, but no one is perfect.
Yeah.
Every human is a human, and being a human being comes with an immense amount of flaws and an immense amount of learning experiences.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted people, especially adult daughters and mothers, to just, I wanted to bridge that relationship.
Yeah, it's such a gentle relationship. It's a fragile relationship between mother and daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I so agree with you. And it's so important.
Yeah.
Because then we train the next group, you know, the next generation, and you hope that you give your kids everything they need. But I guarantee you, one of them, you have more than one, or you only have one, somebody's coming back to say,
yes. I always say you have to, I tell people you have to treat your children well, because when they grow up, they tell you what they really are.
Yes, they do. And you're like,
it's
I
like,
said my whole life. But they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Because a lot of times we shield them
Yes.
from what it really took in order to raise us. So, job well done.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful, beautiful testimony.
Thank you so much.
So when I was reading, I was like really caught up in it. I was like, wait a minute now. This is totally not what I expected, but it was very beautifully done. And I know your mom would be proud. Thank you. That was really awesome. So now let's talk about your book, Perfection. So Perfection is your latest book, right?
Yes.
It's perfection. It's not what you do, it's who you are.
Yes.
So what was your process in coming up with that title?
Well, when I was ready to write the next book, I had gone through a process of building from low self-esteem. And I was like, okay, God, how do I come back from? Because I had got to a place where I was just broken. Just broken. And you know, you're growing up, and I'm from New York, so everything is a keep moving.
Yeah.
You know, you push through, you pull it up together, and
Never
you keep
slow
moving.
down.
And so I was in a place where I couldn't pull the pieces together. It was like ash. I couldn't gather it up, and I'm like, how do I do this? And God began to talk to me about rebuilding me His way and not in my way.
Right.
And so the book actually started with a poem. And the poem was called Perfection. And it just was to help me see myself the way God saw me. And the first exercise He gave me was, I need you to write down what you like about yourself, and it cannot be anything physical that people can see. So it can't be your eyes, your smile, your this. It can't be that. And I had to sit for a minute, and I'm like,
yeah, because that would be the top 5 and just trying to make the list.
Right.
We all struggle with that.
Right. And I was like, so the first thing was, I like the way I think. I like the way I process information. And that began the journey for me. And I realized that accepting myself and loving myself had nothing to do with what I could produce physically. It had everything to do with embracing who God made me and being okay with that, flaws and all.
Yeah, flaws.
So perfection is not even a thing. So it's not what we do, it's who we are. And it took 10 years for me to complete the process. Didn't take 10 years to write the book.
Okay. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Didn't take 10 years to write the book, but it took 10 years for me to become the book. And so now when I give it to people, I'm not giving them a work in progress. I'm giving them something that I know absolutely works because God walked me through it first.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. So in your book, you wrote, every one of us has a defining moment in life. It may be positive or negative, but nonetheless, it will be defining. So what was your defining moment?
After the brokenness and putting myself back together well, God putting me back together, my defining moment became realizing that I'm okay with not being perfect. So in the book, there are like 12 rules of perfection. And one of them is accepting that you are always being right means being able to accept when you're wrong. So for women, we always want to be right. Even when we're wrong, we find a way to make it right. Right. But to make that true is to be able to say, you know what, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And I just needed to be okay with me. So being able to identify every nuance that made me shrink back or made me feel like I had to put on a mask or I had to hide something. I had a dream. So in the dream, I was making a vase, right? And I'm talking about my hands a lot.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
And the vase had a glitch in it, like a crack. And so in the dream, I looked at the crack and then I turned it around and I said, well, I'll just show this side. I won't show the crack side.
Actually done that.
Right. And these hands came in, picked up the vase and smashed it to the floor.
Oh, wow.
And I was horrified. But then I heard a voice that said, now we're going to make the vase I want to make. And as I sat at this wheel, there was these hands over my hands. And even though my hands were on the clay, it was the larger hands that were forming the clay.
That's beautiful.
And I was like, okay. So it took me time to become okay with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. That's beautiful. I love that whole the visual of it. I'm like envisioning as you're talking about it. I was like, okay. Yeah, that's really good. So you also wrote, fear, anger, and rejection will sabotage your greatness. I know what it's like to feel unsure, insecure, and inferior. I've been friends with low self-esteem. I thought that was an interesting way to put that. Feelings of invisibility and inadequacy, all the while knowing that God has put something special and unique in me, like He has done all of us. So how did you begin the process, like to overcome those things? So once God showed you all that, how did you go about that process?
Identifying every time it came up. I am a big scripture person, and so finding scriptures and making God bigger than me, making what He said bigger than what I was feeling. Whenever I'm doing anything, and I still sometimes I'll feel like, oh, you know, can I live up to what the expectation is in this room? Can I be what everyone else thinks I am and not disappoint the room? You know what I mean? And so that's a lot of work. It's too much work. It is, and it causes anxiety and all kinds. So when I walk in the room, I'm like, okay, Jesus is me and you. And so I walk with Him. I used to practice saying, everyone needs the same thing that I need. So if I see everybody in the room, no matter their education, their level of experience, their position, we all need the same love, forgiveness, and acceptance. If I can remember that, then I can walk up and speak to anyone because I'm being genuine. I'm not, I try to kill all the pretense. And it's not easy. And you have to do it in the moment. The minute I feel it happening, it's like,
snatch it back.
This is not gonna work. You're gonna make a mess, girl. If you try to be something you are not, you are gonna make a mess. And so the fear of being rejected, the fear of not being accepted, the fear of messing up. And then when I mess up, I'm afraid someone's going to judge my mess up. You know what I mean? The fear of being found out, the fear of, girl, I got to keep these flats on today. Are you okay with that? You know what I mean? that is exhausting. It is exhausting. And one day I made a list of all my fears, and I realized that my fears had fears.
Wow.
Just like I said, I was afraid to set a health goal because I was afraid I wasn't going to meet the goal.
Our fears had fears.
My fears had fears.
Wow.
And so for me, writing things out as a writer,
yes,
when I see it, it becomes real to me, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So after all that, what inspired you to then put that in a book?
Because if I'm going through it, there's at least 10,000 other people that's going through it. And if I got through it, then I'm the light at somebody else's tunnel, at the end of somebody's
Absolutely.
tunnel. And so, and I didn't go through it just to say, oh, okay, I went through it.
Yeah. I always say I feel like we have a responsibility.
Yes.
Once we make it through something,
Yes.
we've experienced something, God saw fit to deliver us from it, we have a responsibility.
Yes.
To go and share how we did that. Yeah.
Somebody didn't
And somebody doesn't know how to.
Yes.
And if we have the answer,
Yes.
why not provide it?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So what is it you enjoy most about being an author?
You know what? Years ago, I probably would have said I enjoy the writing process. Sometimes I don't enjoy it so much.
Right.
Right now, I enjoy getting to the finished product.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I love about being an author right now.
When that proof copy comes.
Yes.
It's a hard format.
Yes. Yes. Because when you write, to me, I believe being an author, writing and being an author is the difference between being pregnant and having a baby.
Oh, that's a good way to put that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're writing, you're pregnant. It's like, you're excited and it's wonderful. And then you have a baby and you have your book and you're looking at this thing in your hand and it's like, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest lesson that you have learned from writing your books?
Patience.
That's a good one. It definitely takes that.
Patience and honesty. When you write, you give out what your belief, your truth, what your facts are, right? And once it's printed, it's out there. And I feel like writing is one of the most honest forms of communication.
It's uninterrupted.
Yes, you are the first person that is. Yes, no one has ever got that. Yes,
It's uninterrupted.
It's there. It's you don't have to edit. I tell authors, don't edit while you write.
Exactly.
Just write.
That's right. Yeah.
Just write because
Stop trying to write the first draft second.
Yes.
Write the second draft first. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So did that ever feel scary for you? Like when you first started? I know it did for me.
Yeah.
Especially my first book because it was so personal.
Yes.
Just like yours.
Yes.
And so, did you ever experience any like negativity from putting a book out? Have you ever experienced? Did you read the comments? They say don't read the comments. I read my comments.
I did that once.
Yeah.
And it was like I had a choice to either be horrified or angry, and I think I was both. And I said, well, I'm just not gonna worry about it. As far as what other people think, because then it's just not for you.
Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of authors have to understand. It's like you are writing for a segment of people, not the entire world. And so if somebody picks up your stuff and they read it and they don't like it, so what?
Exactly.
It wasn't written for them.
It
It wasn't for them. And so I know a lot of authors struggle, with that. I don't want the negative feedback. What if people don't like it? Just because it wasn't for them.
That's it. And believe me, somebody's not.
Exactly.
If you get okay with that, then you can keep moving.
Exactly. You can have 50 reviews that are 5, 4-star, 5-star, and you get that one. And you totally tanked because of the one. It's like, wait, but you impacted 50 other people.
Yes.
Why are you focused on the one?
The one. Well, it may be their issue anyway. And they might not just like the cover. Just, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So what's been your biggest challenge as an author?
Wanting to write everything. So
Yes.
having so many ideas and wanting to get to just have 100 books. And they all be good.
Yeah.
And then, just as a writer, as you know, everything that we think or every idea, we think it's a book, right? Just other authors, they believe
that could be a book.
that could be a
That
book.
could be a book.
Yeah, and then the book could be a movie, and
Yes.
it's like, it's just really a statement. It's not a book, but being okay with that.
Yeah.
That is my biggest challenge. Just writing, making sure that I'm empty when I leave here.
Yeah.
I want to write everything that I can. I buy journals consistently. I have so many journals. I'm glad it's not just me. I have so
Journals and notebooks.
Yes.
There's
Just
going to be a
sitting.
time when I need that notebook. Oh, I'm going to buy this one because it just looks pretty.
It's not just me. Thank you. Yeah.
I give some away.
I do.
Sometimes I give some away because I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I have a bunch, but it's just something about having them there. That moment arises when you want to write your thoughts down.
Yes. I never leave the house without a little notepad and a pen,
Nice.
no matter what bag I'm carrying or something. I just got into the habit of remembering you can put notes in your phone.
Yes.
But it's different when you're
It is
the
different.
pen on the paper is a release. It's like such an extension
Yeah.
of you
Yeah.
when you're writing it out.
So that's a good point to segue into some of the fun questions.
Okay.
So which do you prefer, paperback or Kindle or audiobook? Paperback.
I like to turn the pages.
I do too.
I have audiobook, but I find that when I listen to audiobook, I get distracted.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, like because I'll be doing something else as I'm listening, so I'm not really visualizing what I'm hearing. But when I'm reading, I'm getting a picture of what I'm reading. Now that could just be my brain.
Yeah.
But I like paperback.
I love paperback, but I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to crack the spine.
Really?
I like for my book to look like it's
Never
new and never been read. So I would read the book and have it on my shelf and it looks like it's never been read.
So how do you do audiobook?
No, I read. I love paperback.
Okay.
But that's just, I don't like to mess it up. But I
So
read it.
You read it tenderly, gingerly? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I do like some audiobooks. I like it when the author reads their story.
Yes.
If they can.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can do that.
That's true.
Because that is a skill.
That's true.
But so I've listened to some great audiobooks lately, so I do like that. But I do, my preference is paperback as well.
Okay.
Ink pen or pencil?
Ink pen.
Okay. When you're writing, do you prefer to write or type it? Do you write first and then type it in?
Sometimes both. I
Sometimes
write
both.
first and then type. It depends on how quick the thought comes and where I'm at. So if I need to get it out, I'm going to write it out because I can't put it in my phone that fast.
Right.
My kids tell me I'm an old texter. Like
We're getting there.
right. Be patient with us.
Do you have a favorite beverage that you like to drink when you're writing?
Coffee.
Oh, really?
I'm a coffee
I'm not a coffee
girl.
person.
Really?
I don't even like the smell of coffee. Yeah.
I love coffee.
No.
I drink coffee to say I need to relax. Let me drink a cup of coffee. And it's like, that's an oxymoron. You're going to drink caffeine and relax, but I just like. Are you a tea girl?
Tea, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your
I drink
favorite
tea. It's actually a vitamin C herbal blend.
Okay.
I feel like it's keeping me healthy.
Oh,
My
that's
immune
good.
system. But it's really good. It's like an orange, kind of taste to it. So
Okay. That's good.
nothing fancy. Nothing too fancy.
Wait, I have one more question. Do you have a favorite mug that you use when you are writing and drinking your tea?
I do, and I'm going to give you one of them today.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
I do. Do you?
yes.
Is it a writer's mug? Is it something that has to do with writing?
It doesn't. It's
Okay.
a clear glass mug.
Oh, okay.
It makes me feel fancy. I like it.
I love it. I love it. So what are your plans for the future as an author? Like, what's next for you?
I would love to turn one of my books into a screenplay.
Oh,
Yeah, Ice Cream Kiss particularly.
yes.
I need somebody to help me do that.
Mm-hmm.
I found that stories that I'm close to, once I'm done with them, I have a challenge extending them to something else
Okay.
because I'm done with it.
Yeah, you're done with it.
Yeah.
Like I did that.
Exactly.
On to the next, yeah.
But yeah, I would like to do that in screenplay and write a book about relationships, men and women relationships. Right.
Since you brought up turning your book into a screenplay, if your book made it to the big screen, who would you want to play the characters? This is a fun thought.
Yeah.
Who would you want? Who would you cast?
I love Kiki Palmer. I like her. As my mom, I think it would be like around Taraji, Sinai type thing, because she had this elegance, but a down to earthness about her at the same time. So I just would want the characters to feel touchable.
Who's the male character?
Girl, whoever they choose, I don't even know. I don't want it to be somebody I really like. Because they, yeah.
So what piece of advice would you have to someone who's watching us today, who's thinking about starting this whole writing journey?
Right.
Yeah.
That's just right. Don't judge yourself for whatever you want to write. There is no topic off limits.
Yeah.
I mean, no topics. If you want to write about sex, that's your thing. Do it tastefully. You know what I mean? But just write. And I'm saying write to get it out. Because once you get it out, then you can actually see what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And if it's something you need to turn into a book, or if it's just something you just need to take
an article or anything like that. Yeah.
Everything's not a book.
True story. Yeah. That's good. Wow, this time goes quickly, of course. And so I want you to share with the readers or share with the viewers where they can stay in touch with you, where they can pick up your books. Everybody has to read Ice Cream Kiss. Do yourself a favor, especially if you're, if you're a daughter of your mom-daughter relationship. Good book to read. So just tell the viewers where they can stay in touch with you, where they can find you on social media.
Yep, you can find me at Instagram, Facebook at Wright Middleton, or go to my website, jwrightmiddleton.com.
Awesome.
Just
Sure, yeah.
JWRIGHTMIDDLETON.
Awesome. It's just been so great to have you here. This has been such a great interview.
It's been good.
Thank you so much for spending time with us on today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much to our viewing audience for joining us for another segment of Write the Book TV. We'll see you next week.